We're here with Sam Gould and the two-time past president of Kehilath Israel Synagogue,
Yes.
which is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year. Sam, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, Kehilath Israel Synagogue was identified really strongly with the Solomon family.
Right.
Rabbi Maurice Solomon, his brother, Cantor Ben Solomon, and especially Rabbi's wife, Betty Solomon, right?
Yeah.
Talk about them just a little bit and what they meant to the synagogue and the city.
Well, the rabbi, of course, was the fixture, the focal point of the synagogue. He was a do-it-all type of a person. I mean, much different than I think rabbis of today, since he had a small contingent around him. He did most everything. He was very much involved in the budget of the operation of the synagogue, and he was a hands-on type of a person. Just for a minute to talk about Betty, once she became the Rebbitzin, she became very active in the sisterhood. And, Cantor Ben was also a very important part of the synagogue. He was very capable of doing a lot of things other than cantorial work, and it looked like he spent a lot of time on other stuff. He was quite a mechanic. He did all the loudspeaking system of the synagogue. He was a busy guy with most everything as well as cantorial. It was a group of 3 or 4 people that were very big part of the synagogue. I think that there was fundraising going on, and
This is for the sanctuary on Rock Hill Road?
yeah, well, I think this was still going on at a time that the fundraising was for the social hall. That was the first
part.
step. And the chairperson was Jack Rubin, and I guess the co-chairperson was a brother-in-law by the name of Robert Klein. And they called for a dinner meeting of maybe 8 or 10 younger people. That some were becoming active in the synagogue, some were just getting started with synagogue activities. And in order to, I guess, reach their goal of what they were trying to attain, the co-chair people called a number of us, and I had just gotten started in a business that was well spoken of and popularized. It was parking with the Kansas City A's that had just come to town, and that had to be in 1954, and I hadn't realized 10 cents out of it yet, but I guess the anticipation that maybe I would be fortunate and maybe doing well at this. I was one of maybe 8 or 10 people who were just starting out in their businesses, and the chairman after dinner decided to start the ball rolling. He says, "I'm going to give $2,500. He turns to his co-chairperson, and they were older people than the people that he had joining in. And the co-chairperson says, "I'll give $2,500. And then there was, I guess, 8 or 10 of us very meekly in our chairs listening to all of this. They had it pretty well covered in such a way that when he got around to our names, it was pretty much the same kind of contribution. So that was the way they got 8 or 10 people to pay pretty much the same amount.
You gave it on the expectation that you would be able to pay it.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's the way things get done.
Yes, I'm sure that constitutes good fundraisers.